So after a gigantic, just gigantic trade, and after a long time of speculation on Timo Meier possibly heading to the New Jersey Devils, the trade finally happens, and it is not just a big trade. It is a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 piece trade. Holy crap. I thought it was only like 10. Anyway, so before we say anything, let's say the full trade. The New Jersey Devils acquire Timo Meier at 50% salary cap retention, which Meier going to the Devils in general, not shocking, but the trade finally happened. They also get Scott Harrington, who has since been placed on waivers, which I find hysterical. Zachary Emond, Santeri Hataka, Timur Ibrahimov, and a 2024 fifth round pick, which is originally Colorado's. I'm butchering names, most likely. I apologize, but I legitimately don't know who half these players are. And San Jose gets Andreas Janssen, former Maple Leafs legend, Fabian Zetterlund, Nikita Okotiuk, Shakir Makumadulin. That name I know for a fact I got right. A 2023 conditional first round pick, a 2024 conditional second round pick, and the almighty essential 2024 seventh round pick. The conditions on the picks being the 2023 first being if the pick is a top 2 selection, New Jersey will instead transfer their own 2024 first round pick. That ain't happening. It's going to be a 2023 first rounder. And on the second pick, the 2024 conditional second, if New Jersey makes the 2023 Eastern Conference Final and Timo Meier plays in 50% of the games, or New Jersey makes the Eastern Conference Final in 2024, the pick becomes a 2024 first. So this might end up being a second round pick because I think there's teams better than the Devils, just my personal opinion. And should New Jersey transfer the 2023 first to the 2024 first, as it is top 2 protected then, and they make the conference final in 2024, San Jose will receive their 2025 first. Jesus Christ, that was a mouthful. The overall biggest piece of the trade, Timo Meier is officially a New York Devil, and the San Jose Sharks got a haul.
New York Devil?
Did I just say that?
You said New York Devil.
Jesus Christ. The New Jersey Devils got Timo Meier, and the San Jose Sharks got a haul. This is why I needed a second coffee. My brain is still trying to wrap around this. Liam, the floor is yours.
No worries. It's a huge trade, Shades, and good on you for getting 75% of those names right. Maybe 100%. I don't know because I can't pronounce them either. I mean, Makuma Doolin, that's impressive. Nice, rolled off the tongue well. But of course, the Devils, they acquire the best player in the trade in Timo Meier. He was the biggest fish on the trade deadline market, and Scott, the GM Fitzgerald brings him in. And he gets some prospects as well. I mean, Scott Harrington, like you said, he just got waived. You get a 5th round pick. And I mean, look, what he gave up, it wasn't Simon Nemec. It wasn't Luke Hughes. It wasn't even Alexander Holtz, but it was a haul for this player. And, I think the key here, Shades, with this trade is that this does not come with an extension for Timo Meier. There's no certainty that the player is going to stick around. I mean, of course, they have restricted free agent rights, which should provide, a little bit of a security blanket for the Devils. But still, this could end up being, a 1-2 year, thing. So this, could potentially not be a long-term relationship between the Devils and Timo Meier. And as far as what they gave up, Fabian Zetterlund is a very good two-way winger, and he's young. So I like him. He's not the main piece in this trade. I think Makuma Doolin would identify as that. He's a top defensive prospect. He was a former first-round pick. Andreas Janssen, he has some NHL time under him. Probably kind of cut and dry of where he's at. Okatuk, I have no idea who that is. I have to be honest with you. A 2023 first-round pick. Again, 2023 draft is stacked. And if the Devils are a first round exit, that could be between 21 and 23. That's something that be pretty cool. So, for the Sharks, and they could have a nice turnaround quickly, getting a top end prospect there. So, but I also think the Devils do well in having the Sharks retain 50% of the salary as well. So I think it's a good trade for both teams. I think the conditions are a little bit ridiculous. I don't know why the Devils would ask for a top 2 protected pick in this year's draft. They're going to make the playoffs. I mean, are the Devils like really, not confident that they're going to make the playoffs, that they have to, protect those top 2 picks? That's a little bit questionable. But yeah, besides that, it's a good trade for both teams. Devils get the best player in the trade, and they get their big fish. We spoke about it on last week's episode, Shades. The Devils saw the Rangers get Vladimir Tarasenko and Nico Mikkola, and they saw the Islanders acquire Bo Horvat, and now they go out and acquire their man, Timo Meier. And, I think it was a foregone conclusion from the start that he was going to end up a New Jersey Devil. I think anybody that you talk to around the league or, likes to talk about hockey, would tell you that Timo Meier was going to be a Devil by the time the trade deadline was over. And we see that come to fruition. So good for them and tough for the Rangers, our beloved New York Rangers.
Yeah, the night before the trade happened, which was 2 nights ago at this point, it was rumored that Vegas and Carolina were also in, but I never really found either one of those two teams to be a serious threat to land him. I think, like you just said, me and you always thought it was going to be New Jersey, and here we are. And with placing Harrington on waivers, the Devils, only Meier and Zetterlund and Makumadulin, who, this is an interesting one, he is playing in the KHL this season.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, the only 2 players currently on a roster, NHL roster, are Zetterlund and Timo Meier. So basically, this is a whole bunch of minor league players and prospects and draft picks. So, yeah, you're right. It is 100% a gamble.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, the Devils got Timo Meier.
Yep. The Devils got Timo Meier. They got the best player available at the trade deadline. Cut and dry.
Yes, and like you said before, there is no extension in place at this time. The Devils actually technically can retain him after the season. That is going to be a monster extension, but that is a whole other thing for another day. And I'm very surprised that the Devils were able to keep all of Nemec, Sharangovich, Mercer, Bratt, Boquist, and
just
Alexander Holtz. I was surprised that they were able to keep literally all of them.
Yeah, that's a good job by Tom Fitzgerald. I'd also like to note that Makumadulin is number 5 prospect in the Devils system. So, again, it's a prospect pool that's definitely heavy towards the top. But Makumadulin, that's good for Tom Fitzgerald to give up a player, not towards the top end of that list. And Okatuk, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. I'm almost certain that I am. But he played in the NHL earlier this season with the Devils, so he has NHL experience under his belt. So, and so does Andre Janssen. So the Sharks are getting some players that can help out right now. And I'd also like to know, I think that the reason why Alexander Holtz was not a part of this trade wasn't because the Sharks weren't interested in him. I think he's been hurt in the American Hockey League. I think that the Sharks didn't want to trade for an injured player. And if you'll remember, Shades, initially what happened was that the trade was being held up by a player who was injured, and I think it was on the Devils side. So, that could have potentially been Holtz, and he could have been replaced by Makumadulin. You never know. So maybe that could be a precursor to the Sharks trading Erik Karlsson, trading for a top-end defensive prospect. Maybe reading between the lines there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no, I do remember hearing something about the injured player on the Devils holding the trade up. So you're 100% right about that. But what this makes the Devils is frankly, let's face it, a better team because they get an elite winger who is capable of scoring 35, 40 goals to a already young and talented fast team. So this makes them all the more heavy and scary come the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I know we'll go through it throughout the rest of the episode, Shades, but man, the East
Is
is
just stacked.
it is, yeah. Stacked is the word.
Yeah, so Timo Meier, a New Jersey Devil, in a monster trade. And by monster, I mean 13-piece trade. So just insanity.